SoulStrike is actually a pretty good Soul Ops game. Not that it's perfect, but it does have the potential to be among the greats in this genre. Before I start, I want to preface this video with a few statements. I was asked personally to review this game by somebody who I believe is a tester for it. And while that is the reason that I am making this video, I will say that I was not paid off nor bribed to speak good about this game. The video will be my honest review of this game with no strings attached. And with that being said, let's get into it. To begin, I want to talk about the game's progression, as I do believe that is a make or break for these types of games, especially in the Soul Ops genre. Bad progression is an instant turn-off for most players, regardless of the quality of everything else. When it comes to this game's progression, it is pretty standard and by the book. Not that I'm going to down it for that, but it is nothing truly unique, nothing new. It's simply kill bosses, get coins, get the badge, use the boss as a character, repeat for the next boss, keep going, keep going, keep going. And while it's not a bad thing, it would be nice if this game stood out with its progression, like adding a shop and soul system, similar to Deal with Forgotten Bosses 2's soul system, where they added soul synergies to some characters to incentivize using different characters. That's basically the progression. I just kind of wish they did more with it. And the game's grind isn't that bad. You spend currently, because there's only 2 tiers to the game, about 30 minutes to an hour to get tier 1 and get story shift. And then you would be good until the next content update.
Alright, really quickly, I was using the wrong mic input. That's why my mic sounded like absolute shit before this. So we're going to keep going with the video now, because I do have a script I'm following. But this is a quick pause. I'm sorry for the mic quality at the beginning there. That was the wrong input. I'm very sorry. This is going to bring me on to my next point, which is the characters. The game currently has 9 characters to use. These consist of Classic Sans and Papyrus, Swap Sans, Underfell Sans, Science Sans, the one that sounds like a slur when you say his name, so I'm not going to say it for that reason, Swap, Story Shift, and Dusttail Sans as a Game Pass character. This means that as a free-to-play player, most of the characters are unrestricted and you can use them so long as you have the other requirements. No worries on that end. When it comes to the quality of the characters themselves, it's a fairly standard quality, but a few of them have aspects that make them stick out and feel unique to play. So to save time, I'm only going to talk about what I believe are the most notable to me personally. If you find other characters more notable, that's for you, but for me, these are the ones that I felt most fun playing. For Tier 0, there's Swap and Fell. Underswap's a tank, and as much of a tank as you can really get. I can't exactly explain how he's so tanky, since I don't really understand his passives that well. What I generally got from it is that you restock your bone bombs using one of your moves to keep your base defense as high as possible. This effectively will make you take around 1 HP per damage, or every time you get hit you only take about 1 damage, and stop you from getting bursted down, basically. He seems to struggle in the regeneration department, though, only having 1 major source of healing from his restock before it becomes just restocking bombs. Fell Sans, on the other hand, is more of a major DPS character. I think he had the highest damage or DPS output out of every character I was able to play. The only character I was unable to play during my time playing the game was Story Shift Sans because I did not grind 600 coins. Other than that, Fell had the highest DPS. The goal with him is to avoid as many attacks as possible, I know that's crazy, in order to ensure your chain does not break. When you use your chain, if you get hit too many times, it will break and debuff you. However, if you keep your chain on the boss, you will consistently gain anger and debuff the boss. Once you hit 100 anger, you will enter an enraged state with Underfell, where your attacks will deal much more damage, they will have some new variations, until your anger runs out. I need to say, you cannot permanently, from what I know at least, cannot permanently maintain anger. You lose more anger than you can gain, so no matter what, you cannot stay permanently enraged. I think this is a good thing, by the way. If you could stay permanently enraged, he'd be kind of OP. On to Tier 1. For the Tier 1 characters, it is the 2 most expensive Tier 1 characters, being Swap, and Story Shift. Swap, in my opinion, is notable, but not for the right reasons. I do believe this is the one character, I think this is the least enjoyed I felt playing this game. Swap has a passive where based on the distance you are away from the boss, you will either get buffed or debuffed, depending. Now, this would be fine on its own, But the max distance for his best buff randomizes about every 30 seconds. I think it's somewhere around 30 seconds. It will randomize, meaning that your DPS will be inconsistent using the buff variance. And not only this, but if you are not at this golden zone, the worst debuff you will obtain, and the one that makes him absolutely miserable to play, is the visual debuffs. The most notable visual debuff is that when you are at 1 bar out of 3, you will lose the ability to see colors. You will see things in black and white, which means, especially for color attacks, you cannot tell the difference. This makes Swap absolutely miserable to play. During my time playing, I felt none of the tier 1s were really on par with Fell Sands, so I just used Fell Sands the whole time. Swap being a major reason of that. He's probably good if you're really fucking good at using him. Not for me. Next, Story Shift. I cannot speak too heavily on Story Shift because I actually didn't get him. I only saw him being used when I joined a public server and played with a teammate in order to beat the Story Shift boss. But what I got from it is that he can pick a soul from one of his moves, one of the 6 Undertale souls, and after using it for a certain amount After using it for a certain amount of time, which seems to be about 25 to 30 seconds, he will gain a semi-permanent buff from that soul, which he will keep until he takes too much damage, I think, at a time. So, like, if he takes 50 damage over time, it won't lose the soul. But if he takes it all at once, like it gets bursted, then you'll lose the soul. I couldn't really know how that works, and I wasn't able to use him, so I can't really explain that too well, but that's what I got from reading the passive. Whew. On to the bosses. The most notable boss was easily Story Shift. Story Shift was the only boss that I was actually incapable of soloing in my time playing this game. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Forcing, or at least becoming substantially easier when team play is used, is only a bad thing if it's in the sense of one player is carrying another. Story Shift incentivizes teamwork. At about 90% health, he will start spawning souls that have varying effects, the most notable being the Justice Soul. It will target whoever has the lowest health and apply aggression and make that player take more damage. The ideal play against this boss seems to be having one player attack Story Shift while the other one, usually the one without the Justice nerf, deals with the souls to keep him at bay. The thing that I enjoyed most about the bosses in this game is that none of them feel the same to fight. There are different strategies to taking on every boss in the game. Now, there are only 4 bosses in the game at the moment, so that this could change once more bosses come into play. However, I think these devs have the ability to fix a major issue that a lot of Soul Ops games fall under, making every boss feel the same, because these 4 feel very fun to fight, and I think that they could fix this big issue in the genre. Alright, the last major point that I wanted to touch on was quality of life. This game's quality of life is just chef's kiss, absolutely amazing. Like, seriously. A few things I seriously love just off the top of my head is whenever you tier up, for example, if you buy tier 1 and you have 0 coins, you can still use the tier 0 characters that costed coins, as long as you have the badge requirement and you're a tier above what it costs. The coin requirement will be null. Along with that, if you go over to Error Stand, there's an option to view boss descriptions. There are built-in boss descriptions in the game, meaning that you do not have to go off-platform, find a YouTube video, or trial and error the boss in order to learn what it does, and you can make a strategy to deal with it at that text alone. The last bit of quality of life that I want to mention very quickly is move descriptions on characters. Looking at, let's say, for example, Swap's leap move, if you look at the wall of text in the info page for him, it's a lot to look at. But if you spawn in a Swap and you hold your mouse on the move itself, it will instead summarize that description and show you a more compact and easy to digest format for the description of the move. With that being said, I've put the game link in the description if you would like to check it out yourself. This game is much more deserving of the player counts that some of the other Soul Ops games on this platform have that are much more popular. The only major, and I mean major, flaw that I have noted or seen with the current state of the game is the amount of content, which is always, with any game, a fixable issue with time. Have a good day or night wherever you are, and peace.